Captain on the bridge.
All right, Captains, we are back here on the bridge, and today, yes, we got something to go over from the Star Trek Online Deca Twitch gaming channel, so on screen. Yes, Captains, before we get into this video, do us a huge favor and hit that like button to help this video, but to help the overall channel out. And of course, if you're new here, welcome. Consider subscribing here to the YouTube bridge, where we're always on the lookout for like-minded Captains to share our love, passion for Star Trek Online, but also things Star Trek. Now, with that said, here we go. Yes, Captains, another stream here from Deca. This time going over the latest ship that we will be getting. Of course, we covered it here on the channel, which is the Voth Stronghold Miracle Worker Dreadnought Cruiser. Say that 3 times fast. So what we're going to do is just let this stream play out, this VOD play out in its entirety, and then at the end give our 2 ECs. Just like the previous ones, this is just to keep a record on here on the channel for those who missed it. So here we go.
Hello and welcome to another developer stream, this time for the Voth Stronghold Miracle Worker Dreadnought Cruiser. Say that 3 times real fast in a row.
That'd be the whole stream.
Yeah, it's a whole Twitter post on its own. But if you guys have any ideas for longer names, you can find my Blue Sky posts where I asked about exactly
I'm actually
that today.
pretty sure that this is not the longest ship name, but it's short maybe only by a character or 2.
I think we need to go digging. We need to figure that one out now.
It's another Miracle Worker Dreadnought Cruiser, because those are the wording parts.
No, I love it. Just don't make me say it more than once today. I'm here with Jeremy, who you all know and love, hopefully at this point. We have Pandas here, of course. Miko's here for the 2nd time. And for the 1st time today, we have Ramon. He's another ship artist who's been doing a lot of work on this wonderful ship. And we finally convinced him to talk a little bit about it in a few minutes. Today, I have, of course, a question like always. And before that, for the 1st time today, we have a giveaway. We'll hopefully do these in all our ship streams, but we will give away 5 T6 ship coupons to you guys, to every active chatter. Can basically just keep chatting, keep talking, and that will get you a chance to be part of the giveaway. We will not announce them publicly in the stream because my very lovely moderators are taking care of that. But at some point in the end of the stream, we will put the bot on, and 5 of you will be picked for a ship coupon, and then I'll reach out to you personally.
So that does mean they have to at least say hi in the chat, though, to get their name registered?
Yes. You do need to at least say hi or tell us your favorite thing about the new ship, or just talk with the other awesome people in the chat. There's even some Deca people in there who love to talk with y'all. All right, but back to the more interesting part. What's your favorite ship to fly in Star Trek Online? I'm gonna start as always. I think I've talked about this a few times. It's Mars Pilot Escort for me because it's the only ship that I don't run into things with. But also it just looks very sleek, and I just like to be special. It just doesn't look like a lot of other ships, and I think that's really cool.
Is that one of the future Discovery ships?
Yeah,
Yep,
it's just, it is, yeah, it is, and it's really pretty. Mike actually recommended it to me when I kept complaining about running into everything. And it's it's been working really well for me. Also, just turning it around in fights is so much easier because I'm not very coordinated in the.
Oh, is that the one that looks like a crab? Its saucers are kind of forward. Yeah, I remember that one.
It flies very smoothly. I'm very happy with it.
Its powers are inspired by horseshoe crabs, or not horseshoe crabs, pistol shrimp. Yeah. They make cavitation powers. That was fun to build.
That makes it even cooler because I do like the powers quite a bit. So now, now I'm never gonna use another ship. I'm just collecting them.
Cavitation or something like that.
Yeah, it's really useful. Especially when you're more of a beginner player, it was really useful for me to like get started in the game.
Well, I'm going to go to the far extreme from light, nimble, don't run into things ships because I'm currently flying the Breen Yodthought, which is actually was made by Miku, who's here with us. And that's currently my favorite. I think it's a little bit blasphemous, probably to some of the people watching, that I don't really have a long-term favorite. I like to mix it up periodically when I play, and I don't play as much as I should. I'll admit that up front. But when I go on a binge, I try to like swap out to a new ship, a new build, and try out something different. So I recently switched to the Breadnought. Oh, I like that. Yeah, Breadnought. For the sake of unlocking the fire at will trait for my other ships, but I'm really enjoying it. Trying to build it as a beam overload boat, not doing it right now, but it's still fun. I like occasionally just taking out those big chunky ships because they just make you feel so powerful and like intimidating and everything. Even though it's just AI, they can't be intimidated yet.
They are intimidated. We tell them to be intimidated, and then they are. So.
Oh, right. Well, we encourage them. We can't really tell our AI to do things as much as like, yeah, wait. What about you, Miku? What are you flying that's your favorite?
So I mean, after playing with some more player ones, that answer might change. But in terms of aesthetics, I like my floating Wi-Fi router box. That is the Section 31 command heavy battlecruiser. If you know, you know. But yeah, I like the secret agent theme and the shape of it, and also it has
Is
some
that the
pretty
one with
colors.
the is that the one with the swarmers that like tear off the
Yeah,
hull?
yeah,
Yeah, that's a cool
things like
ship.
that. But yeah, I just love the aesthetics of that one.
Ramon, shall you go first or shall I?
However you prefer. If you want to go
Uh,
first, no problem.
Sure. So currently my main in STO is flying the Crossfield Science Spearhead, not the refit one. Mainly because like one of the key motivators for me coming back to Star Trek Online was when Discovery started airing. And so I have a cannon build on it. Not like cannons as in pew pew, but like I put the beams that we see on the show on it and all that. So it's not great. I'm not a good ship build person. I don't do DPS, but I have fun with it, and I have the spore visuals and all that as well. So, yeah, that's why I fly.
We've done a big handful of like spore stuff. Do you have
Yeah,
all of those on there?
I don't think I do. Like, I have the Black Alert trait, which I pair with Beam Overload and Entwined Critical Matrices, which actually allows you to get more or
More
more
black
duplicates
alerts?
of yourself. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
and I think that's pretty fun.
Yeah. All right, Ramon, your turn.
Yeah, for me, usually like when a ship releases, I like to use it if I did it. But I think the one that I like the most and I always go back is the Stargazer. A while ago we did like a remaster and I love how that looks. Like I really like the nacelles on that one, and
Mm.
just to cosplay and it's amazing.
I like that both of the artists answered from this one's pretty, and I like to fly it because it's pretty.
Yeah.
Now we know
Yeah.
why
Valid
they're
answer. Very valid answer.
All right. Now let's talk a little bit about the art of the ship. So I'll leave that to Keen and Ramon.
Yeah, so as many players, especially longtime players know, this is the Voth Stronghold, which is a tier 6 version of a ship from back in, I think, 2013, the Voth Bulwark. The Bulwark was designed by Josh Kuliklimo and modeled by Ian Richards and Adam Gibson. This new Voth Stronghold was designed by Hector Ortiz and modeled by our very own Ramon. So, Ramon, what was it like working with Hector on this ship?
Well, very good. I always love the concepts that Hector does. Also, especially because uh, for what he usually do is like he creates like a model on Max or whatever, and then he renders on top of it and start adding detail. So that's amazing for me because I can go into the Max file and see it in person, like kind of like moving it and getting the shapes right. And also because like his way of modeling usually is like very clean. So sometimes I'm able to take some stuff up from there and then polish it a little bit. So yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, I worked with Hector with the on the Garrett, and that was great fun. Like his concepts are always amazing to work with. And so like this ship is really similar to the Bulwark, so I was wondering if you took any elements from the existing design to help you create the stronghold.
I don't think so, to be honest. Like,
Oh.
um, when doing the model, we had like the original ship and then the blockout from Hector, and I kind of like redid most of it. Uh,
Mm.
I think there isn't like any specific part that it's from the original one. But what I did at the end of it, when we started adding like more details, I started to git bash like some small pieces on other like both ships. But I don't think nothing was exactly from the Bulwark.
Mm.
So with any tier 6 conversion of an existing ship, you know, we try to keep it approximately the same footprint, but we might push around the shapes a little bit. We'll be able to show you that in the tailor, because getting this will also give you the tier 5 version of the skin, as well as a few different material options that we'll show off in the tailor when we get there.
Unfortunately, there isn't really any kit bashing. The ship is just in one piece, so you
Right, there's
can
no
swap
indent.
between the two. But yeah, you can use the
That's pretty
materials and
common with a
stuff.
lot of our alien ships, but we do try to, I know you guys try to include material options where it's possible, to
Yeah.
at least
Yeah.
give you some customization options. I'm curious, there might not be a good answer for this, Ramon, but do you know, so this sort of layered look of these big elements here is new to the Voth aesthetic. Do you know where that may have drawn inspiration from?
I'm not sure. Like Hector did like a few concepts and try different stuff. This one, the one that we like the most, I think it kind of resembled a little bit the original one, but
Hmm.
kind of gave it like a little bit of a slicker look. But I
The
don't
thing I
think we pick it
think
from anywhere else.
the thing I really like about it is that, you know, this ship has always been identity wise. It was like one of our first ships that we kind of went all in on the design concept of it's just a tank. That's what it does, is survive. It lives. So I really like this layered look because it gives this idea of like thicker hull plating, more defensive, especially when you couple it with kind of this negative space that
Yeah,
exists on these sections below. It really makes it feel like it's a sturdy ship, that is designed to like withstand a beating and keep going. So that's
Yeah, it
yeah.
really
I
makes
really
it
like
feel
that
like
element.
I
yeah,
think
really makes it feel like armor
um,
plating.
yeah, I think like that plating initially it was like the idea to have like kind of like a resemblance to the skeleton of a fish, but outwards.
Mm.
So you kind of see that there, like yeah,
Yeah, I do remember with the tier 5 there was some inspiration we talked about from whales, particularly with
yeah,
this big chin section. So I could definitely see Hector returning to some of those concepts to like fish bones make sense. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so
yeah. From the
Ramon, what was your favorite part of sorry, you're going?
oh no problem. Like for the front, I think we try to give it like kind of like a jaw, kind of have it
Mm.
like the face of a big fish, a little bit
Hmm.
menacing.
Yeah, these additional armor plates up front kind of give it like that lower jaw feeling for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah. People are calling out the green kind of looks like eyes as well.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a lot of eyes. Oh, the big ones. I was like, there's a lot
Yeah.
of green lights. How many eyes do they have?
No,
No,
these
I do
big
agree.
triple thing. Yeah,
Like a
almost
space
like a
whale, kind
orca.
of. Yeah.
yeah.
Mm.
What were you going to say, Kin?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask what was your favorite part of working on this ship because this is, I think you've worked on several ships before, so
Or
this is
least favorite. What?
also true. And
Yeah.
this is quite different. It's way more organic than the ships you've worked on before. So I was wondering, what was your favorite part about working on it, or least favorite, as Jeremy asked?
Um, I think of like both, like the least and the most, was working on a ship that is like so organic, because sometimes it's harder to model.
Hmm.
Fluid shapes tend to create much more problems with geometry. but it
I
also
know
was like a cool experiment. Yeah.
I saw some earlier iterations where I know this section here and all these curves was not behaving well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I know that was
Yeah.
a difficult section to work with.
Yeah. It also was
Turned out,
fun because. Oh, sorry. It also was fun because before doing ships, I was doing weapons, and some of the techniques for doing like kind of pistols and all of that are kind of similar to that. So it was
Mhm.
like a good throwback to that.
Some people I know mentioned that this kind of looks like it could be a handheld weapon, like a big rifle.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of our ships kind of resemble giant weapons, to be honest.
Yeah. That make it look like also a bit of a challenge because this ship is like quite big.
Mhm.
So even if it has like the shape of a weapon, we have to like make it look the correct size. And even
I
if you
always
like,
tend to I always tend to rely on like window size as the biggest
yeah,
indicator of like how big is this ship. So just keep that in mind to the folks seeing the stream at home. These are the windows. They're teensy. So if you think
yeah,
about comparatively to how you would see windows on a Federation ship, like this is a big ship.
Yeah, I think this is what, like 1,300 meters long, if I recall correctly. So yeah, it's over a kilometer and it's pretty big.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. For
So
this,
before
like,
we any
oh sorry,
other art comments you want to share before we go into the tailor and take a look at the material options?
yeah. For the like, just to sell the scale better, one of the main things we had to focus on was like the paneling of the ship. That kind of
Hmm.
helps a lot, making like everything feels the correct size. If you look it from the top, I really like how it end up. Like, all this panel here, like, um, I kind of try to make it look with the second like trim that is like black. Uh, Try to make it look like a giant like city,
Hmm.
and that really helped a lot. Like, start giving like a lot of detail and small panelings over there.
Well, and this kind of harkens back to like the trench along the city
Yeah.
ship in the breach as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when you were working on this, Ramon, one of the key pieces of advice Thomas gave you was on the panels at the side, like the armor plating part. There's like subtle variations in like height. There's like parts that are extruded. Like it's
Yeah,
not just like a panel. So like that additional like depth really sells the scale of the ship.
Hmm.
yeah. We tried for like any major like piece of the ship, like any big part, try to break it a little bit and try to have like some height variance.
Hmm.
That certainly helps a lot, and
Oh, I
it
just
just
noticed there's even height variance within the trenches as well.
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. All
I
right,
think
are
if
we ready
there's nothing
to?
else, Ramon, yeah, we can have a look at it in detail and have a look at how it compares to the original bulwark.
Most of my development of this was just looking at the old one, so it's really cool seeing all these little details on the new one.
Yeah, I mean, even for my sake, sometimes I don't get to see the ship art until we do a live stream.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, so here is, okay, as you can see, this is just alphabetical in case people on the
Mm.
stream, so it just defaults to the first one in the list when you enter the tailor. So this is the old tier 5 skin, if you weren't already familiar with it. Showing its age a little bit and its triangle count, but particularly in this area. But then we can see, okay, so this is the new stronghold. You can see here how we, like I was saying earlier, we tend to hold on to the general footprint of the ship. And that's because they actually share a skeleton and they share a collision box as well. So we have to do that. But then if we take a look at the material types, so these are mostly from the previous Voth ships, I believe.
Yeah.
So this is the new one, which actually, does that work on the old ship?
Yeah,
It
now
Oh,
it
it
should.
was for the
does.
old ship.
That looks kind of nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is this the same material as is used on the other T6 conversions, or was this made specifically for the Stronghold?
It's the same one. Maybe it looks a little bit different because I
Hmm.
tried to play a little bit with the tiling, just so it
Hmm.
kind of help with the scale. Usually the other ones I think they are like more like zoomed in, So the
Mhm.
like the small scales look like much bigger.
Were there changes made to this material that might be present and visible on the other T6 Voth ships?
No, it's
Or is it just
the
how you
original one.
wrapped?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's only on wrap.
Okay. Cool. And here's some of the other material options. I kind of like this one, I'll be honest. The bronze is awesome, but I love the kind of
Yeah.
iridescent undertones of
I
this
like
one
that one.
as well.
Yeah, when I started working on it, this was the one that I was using the most, and then I flip it to the orange one.
Hmm. So yeah, just to reiterate, there's no like interchangeable parts here between the two skins, but you can choose the old one if you prefer how it looks to the new one. Cool. Very cool. All right, let's put a few vanity shields on this for the folks that I know would be requesting it. Well, if there's any questions that we have about this, we could take some time to answer those. Counselor, are you there?
Yes, sorry. Um, there was suddenly German in the chat, and I needed to recalibrate my brain for a second. I think someone is asking for Andorian blue boars.
Let's see if I can find it. Bozeman, Cation. I might not have it. This is kind of an old set of vanity shields, so I don't know that I have that one. Oh, that's got nice contrast to it.
Oh yeah, that looked nice.
What even is that? Counter command, okay.
That does look really cool though with the green.
Of course, pink.
Mm,
I think with that dark green material, this pink would really pop.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I always love the pink vanity shields. I'm very biased.
But they do work better with certain materials over others. It's true. Let's see. Trying to find the one that people always ask for, like Baul and you know, the dark ones. Everybody likes a big black ship.
Oh, but that one's also not bad.
Oh, I forgot I
I
could
like
do
the
this.
contrast.
I keep forgetting about the search bar. Ooh, it turns the eyes
Oh.
red. How
Oh nice.
Evil.
Oh,
menacing.
that's really cool. It's evil
That's,
now.
that's awful. Awesome.
Those are
I
two
mean,
different things
Sorry.
entirely.
if you
Total
face it
slip
in
of the tongue.
battle, it's also awful, I think. So
That's that's yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the
Awesome
blue one.
fool.
I do
Well,
love that the
awesome
shields
full.
change the window colors like that. It really gives it a different atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
Eh, boring.
Very cool. So that's the Fakiri. And I saw somebody request. We'll talk about the. Actually, let's go ahead and segue into the design a little bit here because there's a question that came up about the wide-angle torpedo. Let me go ahead and answer
Yes.
that before we get into the specifics of this ship. I'll be perfectly honest. I didn't include the Voss torpedo in the feature brief that I handed off to Miko. This is what I want the ship to do, which is something that, as a lead designer, I tend to do, like a little short paragraph write-up or so about, like, here are my expectations for the ship. So that was my oversight. I forgot to mention the wide-angle torpedo. So the T6 version is not going to have it, but we will look at a way to get that back in the game. Now that the T5 version of this ship is going to be officially retired, we'll figure out another way to get that into the game so it doesn't become a retired item. Very likely the Phoenix Star, but I can't confirm that 100% just now. But I'm aware of it. It won't come on this ship, though, just to confirm that.
Something for
All
the
right.
future.
Yeah, something to look out for in the future.
Guess you guys have to keep playing.
All right, so with that, let's go ahead and segue into talking a little bit about the design for this ship. And I'm just going to hand the mic over to Miko. Let's start with can you talk a bit about the early process and the identity and everything like that?
Yeah, so when I was first handed this, pretty much I was immediately given the impression of this being, like the really defensive sort of ship. And looking further into the Voth line, etc., I can see that pretty much they're just wanting to build bigger and bigger ships that can tank everything. So we pretty much went all in on that and even like improved it by comparing it to more modern tanky ships. Um, I kind of went super conservative on the stats until Jeremy was like, "Yeah, let's just crank up this let's crank up this whole a bit." And
This one goes to 11.
we actually had a little discussion about that where I think Jeremy was like, "This is one of our biggest ones, right?" And or I think it was, I don't remember if it was this trip or another one, but regardless, Jeremy was like, "This is a bit big," and then we were just like, "No, I think it's right at the end." So there's a lot of discussions happening between like very seemingly minuscule numbers, but it makes a difference on your screens.
Hmm. There's also, I do want to bring up, we didn't mention this last week because we hadn't spoiled this ship in full yet, but this ship is another reason why the Trafalgar ended up being a juggernaut, just to call that out. And part of the decision process there, just so people get a little peek behind the curtains, is the existing version of the Dreadnought cruiser came with unique pets that were unique to that ship, and I felt that it was important to hold on to that aspect of its identity. So we knew that the T6 version of this should have at least one hangar bay. So when we were looking at these two ships, this and the Trafalgar, that were right after one another in the ship cadence, we needed to make sure that the two of them felt different, that they had a little bit as much difference in their identity as possible without straying too far from like the core identity of those ships. They both ended up being very tanky ships, but now we have the Trafalgar that's a juggernaut with a tactical primary, and then this ship that's a dreadnought cruiser with an engineering primary seat. So just another little peek behind the curtain there for everybody. Yeah.
There's also the unique interaction of the fact that this ship's trait uh, gives you damage when you get healed. Uh, that was an
Hmm.
interesting twist. Like originally, when I was designing this, I had a few ideas that ultimately we discussed more and evolved it into this other idea of uh, making a tank that bites back, and that's something that also existed in Neverwinter a little bit. So we brought a little bit of our experience from there into this, and we're just excited to see how you use it. Um, could potentially have some scary moments depending on if you have a huge healer or not. So we'll be watching out for that. But it should be within range of normality at the moment, as far as I'm aware.
I actually think that we may come back to this, and just based on some early feedback that I'm seeing in theory crafting about the Starship trait, we might end up buffing it in the future. I don't know. It actually feels like there are some aspects like safety nets that we put in place that might be a little too conservative. So we're taking a look at that. I'm reading the feedback. No promises, as always. We're just talking here. But I have been reading the feedback. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the trait then, if you want to segue into that. So I'll put it up
Uh,
here on the screen.
the trait is
How do
as advertised. Pretty much when you get healed, even if you're at full health, for example, you'll get a sort of shield around you that will then deal that damage to anything else that attacks you within like 10 seconds or so. Um, it's pretty much just going to be like, if you have a friend healing you, you're going to have this thing constantly pretty much running, and anything that dares to attack you will be taking that massive damage or just, the constant flow of damage that you might
Mhm.
expect from a more overtime heal.
We have some new visuals attached to it too. So if I have the trait active here, so you can see we re-leaned into that Voth immunity shield visuals here, so you can see you have this thing waiting to deal damage to somebody. Um, and yeah, it basically turns your heals into additional DPS.
More
I
damage.
like this concept, and if I remember our thought process earlier, I remember all I said to you, Miku, was like, let's consider something that either turns damage into healing or healing into damage, something that turns the tank mechanic on its head a little bit. And
Yeah.
I really like this idea of kind of like storing up the healing that you receive and then returning it to an enemy. Yeah, I can try putting out a test dummy that'll shoot at me and see how this works. It won't shoot me for much, but that'll be good because then I won't die.
That would be a little bit embarrassing on stream.
Shoot me. There it goes. Okay, so if I apply this, then it should hit him for 6750. Yeah, there we go. Bam.
That is
Perfect.
an amazing concept, I have to say. I definitely want that for my ships.
There's a bit of a cooldown on.
Yeah, there's a 10-second cooldown on getting the shield to trigger, so I can't do it back to back to back. But that's the starship trait in a nutshell. The cooldown is actually something that if we tune, that's probably the most likely thing that I think that we'll tune. But there's also issues that we have to keep in mind about how healing stacks, how we're storing the value of how much healing you received, all that kind of stuff. So probably require a little bit more investigation. Let's get rid of this noisy guy. T6 test dummy shoots when? Never. The other thing on this is the advanced version of the existing console. You want to talk a little? I know all we did basically is take the old version and juice it a little bit. What
It's pretty much
values
a
did
bit.
we play with?
It pretty much got an overall boost and sort of like it's sort of like a cherry on top of the old one. Like you pretty much want to replace this one or the old one with this one if you enjoy that. It can also work with the entire set. So um, pretty much you're just getting better values and you're also getting a bit of bonus on like max system subsystem bonus versus before. So that's kind of like the new thing on it besides the all the upgraded values.
Whoa, plus 50 max? That's a lot. Of course, you have to die to receive it. So
Yeah, you literally have to explode and be dead. So it's
this is a tricky thing about STO, right? Because like we don't really want to design things that make you want to die. But at the same time, if we're giving you something that can only be used if you die, it's got to be good. So that's always a real thin line to try to balance on there. We don't want to encourage you to rush in and get yourself killed, but at the same time, we want to reward you for those down moments so they feel less down. Yeah, tricky. But this is part of the old Voth set, so if you really want that Voth battle cloak, you can get those old sets. Now, I think I remember talking to you about this. We included as a 4-piece set bonus because the old reward repair ship console will no longer be accessible. So we had to include it as an option here to replace that old one. Let's go through just so people can see. I know I've already been showing off the paper doll here, but just to confirm, and the stats for this have also been published on a dev blog, so you can review those at your leisure. But it is a 5.3 Miracle Worker ship. That means it comes with this extra universal seat or slot, console slot. And it also comes with the existing Voth Heavy Fighters, but I think I remember we upgraded these as well. Do you remember what exactly we did?
sorry, I didn't have my first talk on. For these, we made a slight change to the power set. So before it had, I believe, emergency power to weapons and emergency power to shields. We modified it a little bit and gave it focused attack. I believe that was the modification.
Focused Assault.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do
focused assault.
remember now.
And it's been changed pretty much. If you already have this, it's pretty much been changed. For anyone who has this already. So it's a universal change across the pet in
Yeah,
general.
it's a modification to the existing version. You don't have to get the new version to have the new functionality. Yep. And then to show off the bridge officer seats, was there anything specific to this design that you wanted to call out, or was this basically just an evolution of comparative design?
It was pretty much that. We had a few ideas. Originally, the ship could have been Miracle Worker in command, but then we eventually settled into sort of like more of the theming of like we wanted to have some of like the intel stuff, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, I think part of that conversation, as I recall, was because the Trafalgar ended up being command primary, and again, we wanted to make sure that they had a separation of identity between these two ships that were releasing essentially on the same day. Not even essentially, it is the same day. So yeah, I think that's probably about all there is to talk about the ship in terms of presentation. I did see somebody asking in the chat or suggesting in the chat that we do more of a combat demonstration for these ships in the future. I would love that, but I think this might be spoiling a bit, but I think we would like to in the future rely on our content creators to do more of that and help them publicize, right? Counselor, is there anything that you can talk about in that front, or do you want to keep the rest under wraps and just keep that a tease?
No. I'm happy to announce that we're going to do ship build streams from now on with some of our and hopefully your favorite creators. They're gonna be run relatively regularly in between our other content. So next week, Tuesday, you can tune in for Mara and Endeavor Gaming. We're gonna look at the Trafalgar and this wonderful wolf ship. And they're gonna present you some builds, talk a little bit about the ideas behind it, and teach me hopefully a lot about ship builds and what makes them good, because I could use the help. And I'm sure some of our newer players would also appreciate a little bit of educational content. So that's gonna happen next week, and just like this week, it will have another giveaway, so you can also join for that. But mostly, so you can hear me ask all the silly questions that you might not be brave enough to ask. You can also message me privately with them. I'm happy to ask them. And just to my mod, please put the giveaway on so we can choose some from all the wonderful people talking right now. And that means
questions.
it's, yes, exactly. It means it's time for the questions. If you have any, this is your chance. Only nice questions, obviously.
Only nice questions. I'm up for a few challenging ones. Not too many, but I'll take a few challenging ones if somebody has them.
I can say that somebody yelled at me in German earlier, which was basically a loud way of asking, is there new content coming that's not ships? Like, do we get new hairstyles? Anything? What did he say? What would make my character more beautiful?
Mm.
Is there anything?
I can say there's always more cosmetic options coming. Like, we have dedicated character artists that are always making new things, and a lot of what they make is stuff that goes in the tailor for you to make your character. Well, I won't guarantee that everything they're offering will make you more beautiful, but I will say that at least they're giving you more options.
They give you choices.
And
That's
yeah,
what you need.
more choices. And I will say that with our fall update, there are multiple new costumes coming that players will be able to get their hands on, so you can stay tuned to see what those are.
All right. I'll translate it into German later. I'm not going to do that on stream. Might break my brain. Somebody asked how much healing is stored up for the trait. If I'm constantly hit, will the trait always deal only a small amount of damage, or how does that work?
I can talk about how it works right now, but I do want to give a caveat that I think we might look into some tuning. Right now, how it works is once per 10 seconds, the first heal that you get gives you that amount stored up, and you can't get any more stored up until that amount is used, because it has a 10-second internal cooldown. So basically, you want to get rely on large single click heals to power up the shield as much as you can in one big chunk. So there's no in the current functionality of what went live today, there's no stacking internally. It's just whatever you get healed for, that much is stored for 10 seconds, and when it goes away, either when it's if it's used or if it's not used, 10 seconds later you can get another pile added to yourself. Healing over time shouldn't trigger this, as far as I know, because those won't be properly tagged. So small, like continuous healing, I don't think triggers this trait. So you shouldn't have to worry about that chewing up the proc. It should just be the big single target heals that trigger this. When I say should, by the way, that's just me talking about my expectations. There's no guarantee that it's something actually works the way when I say should. Caveat.
Same.
Yeah.
We get a lot of questions about new ships, but I think what might be interesting is, can players expect other old T5 ships to get the T6 treatment in the next months,
Um,
years?
if there are still T5 ships that don't have a T6 version, I don't think I'm aware of them. There might be like 2 or 3 more that are really obscure. But for the most part, yeah, there's the APU and the Deca, and I think there's a Kazon ship maybe. Um, so we have talked about potentially what we would do with a T6 Deca. It's a little there's a lot of baggage to that one because like maybe we want to roll it into some sort of Enterprise themed something or Vulcan themed something or whatever. So we have talked about it. No plans yet, and we don't generally talk about things that we're not releasing yet anyway. But just so people are aware that the conversations have happened. The APU, the Kazon, and I'm seeing somebody else mention one. But that might be all of them. Those are also a little weirder because like with anything, we really only make T6 versions of ships that move the needle, and both of those are really unpopular ships, the Kazon and the APU. So it's difficult to justify putting time into making a T6 version unless there's also something else that we can do with it. Like well, those are both Delta Quadrant ships, so maybe we could do some sort of Delta Quadrant bundle of some sort to kind of carry those things forward. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but basically those haven't been upgraded yet because they're just not honestly worth our time to do yet. So we'll start figuring that out in the future. But I think I can safely say that everything that's been converted to T6 is everything that we have plans to convert to T6, with the possible exception of the Deca, which, as I said, is still being discussed. So that's the answer for now.
All right, I think everything else is also mostly, can there be other ships and other remasters, which will get you guys the same answers at this point.
I will mention,
Um,
like in general, and I think Ramon and Keen can kind of back me up on this. There is an ongoing effort, kind of spearheaded by Thomas, to look at old ship models on a pretty regular basis and update them. A lot of the focus recently, though, has been on the ships that players can get for free while they're leveling up a Federation character. That's been our primary focus because that's something that gets a lot of exposure to players. So we want to make sure that those models are, that we're putting our best foot forward with those models. After that list is complete, I don't really know if we have decided at this point what our next priority will be. Maybe it's Klingon ships. I don't know. But we kind of have to always evaluate these things from what's the best bang for our buck. Where's the best place to use that ship artist time to give us better marketing or better return on investment or better microtransactions or whatever our goal is for those individual ships. It all has to be in service of making sure that we're making the game better and extending its lifespan in the best ways that we can, which is another reason like we always try to focus on making new ships as well. This T6 Bulwark actually was something that I convinced Thomas to squeeze into to our ship schedule. I'm glad that he was able to find time for it. But one of the reasons there is that I knew that for the longest time this had been earmarked as we want to make a tier 6 version of the Bulwark, and we just for so long had been not able to find a good place to do it. So when about, I guess it was probably 6 to 8 months ago, we made the decision that the Voth Invictus event would be part of this year's meta campaign. It seemed like a perfect fit that this was finally a way where we could justify putting in the time investment to make a T6 conversion of this old ship, of that old ship. And I'm so glad we did because it turned out fantastic. I really love how it turned out. I do want to call out though, just to, because I feel like I should. You know, we talk about precedents and expectations a lot internally, but just to put that out there for players as well. This is the first time we're doing a tier 6 ship as a giveaway for a 21-day event, and might be the last. I want to make sure that that's communicated clearly. This is kind of a one-off because we wanted to embrace this opportunity to finally put out the T6 Voth Bulwark, and it just happened to work out here. So I don't want to set any expectations that future 21-day events will have tier 6 ships as giveaways. It might happen again, but it just shouldn't be something that I want players to be building up as an expectation in the future.
Managing expectations. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's great. Great for me, mainly. Somebody asked if this will replace the old model for the NPCs.
I don't
the
think
game.
so. I don't think there's any plans for that. The old I don't think that we've put in the T6 Bastille or the I'll turn in my ship nerd card. I forgot the name of the other one. But the other tier 6 version boss ships, I don't think they've been introduced to the critter to the enemy
That's the one.
groups. Palisade, Bastion sounds right. Rampart I think was a tier 5 version.
Oh,
Oh, Rampart is the T6 Bastion. Gotcha.
okay, yeah.
Real
Thank you,
question
players, for
is
being my external hard drive.
which which is the strongest sort of like defensive thing they have right now to according like which one do you like the most out of all the different defensive options of naming? Because all these ships have like really fancy like fort names that like
hmm The one that stands out to me as the least appropriate is the Bastille. I don't know why
that's a
dinosaurs from
fancy.
the Delta Quadrant would name it after a French stronghold, but
Hey, it's
but
wait,
I
didn't
like
didn't
all
they
the
get
other
like
ones.
stormed or something? So like, isn't that?
Yeah, something was lost in translation. It was probably named after one of their famous strongholds, and we just like universal translator.
I mean, the Voth came from Earth. Maybe there were French Voth back in the days before the meteorite.
I don't think that's true. Let's not put that in canon. Hey, I
I
see
thought it was
our
speculation.
giveaway winners have been called. Do you want to read them off just so everyone sees?
God, but I'm so bad at pronouncing things. All right, we have what I think is Adam Sonyo, Prime 3005, something I cannot pronounce, NRET1, Muvak and Sora 4120. As you can see, I'll message you all privately to ask for your username, so you can already decide what account you want this on, and then we'll send you a gift coupon for a T6 ship. Hopefully this one or the one we showed you last week, but I'm not going to police your choices. You could tell us on Discord though what you picked. That would be, I think, kind of cool for us to see.
Yeah. And is this going to be? We're going to try to do this with every live stream from now on, right?
Yeah. So every ship themed stream will have a ship coupon. So next week's ship build stream will also get you a ship coupon if you guys participate in the chat. And then we have, as you all know at this point, there's a content update coming soon. There might be a different reward there. I'm not sure what yet. Once we get more viewers, we'll also give out a few more, obviously. So you won't always have to fight for the 5. So once we have more viewer numbers, we'll give out 10 maybe. And then for big streams, we might give out something more substantial.
So tell your friends,
So
get more people to watch so we can give away more
yeah,
things.
exactly. Like the numbers do matter actually. But yeah, we'll do this every time we show you guys a ship, so you have a chance to actually also instantly get that ship, no matter in what way it's coming into the game.
Well, so to clarify, this is an event ship. The T6, I think we're giving away Zen store coupons, right? So you can't actually get this ship, but you could get the Trafalgar, maybe.
No, you can.
Right.
I think we're giving out. I asked, and I was told you can get all ships with them. So hold me to
Cool.
that, and if I lied, please tell me, because then I know for
I didn't
next
build the coupon. I don't know how it works.
There are 2 different kinds, so you're not wrong. But you should be able to get any of them. If don't, please get back to me and I'll cry to my team lead. No, but you should be able to get the new shops with that, hopefully. But yeah, I'll message you guys probably tomorrow because it's getting late for me here. But you will have it within a day. And then, yeah, join us in the Discord. Maybe tell us, or just, bragging rights, brag to the other players what ship you got with that. And if you get any of the new ones, you can join us next week to find out what a good build for it would be. We do have the condition that at least one of them has to be built for beginners players or free to play players. So it's a bit of something for everyone. And I'm very excited to be schooled by Mara and Endeavor in how many things I do not know. because I mostly choose my stuff on what looks pretty and sounds cool. So
Sorry, I want to answer a couple more questions that I saw in the chat before we call it. So one is a follow up from last week's stream. I talked about soliciting feedback for the Trafalgar console, and some players have been asking in the chat if there's any updates in that regard. Nothing solid. I can't tell you our plans right now, but I will say that myself and the designer that made that ship, Phil, we're going over some of that feedback this week. We hope to maybe have something for the week after that. Anyway, it is an ongoing process. These things don't happen overnight, but we've already received a good deal of pretty actionable feedback, in my opinion. So thank you to a lot of you that have been able to get that feedback to us. It's been really helpful.
and keep
And then
giving
the
it.
other, yeah, never stop giving feedback.
Don't stop now. I am looking. If you don't think I'm looking, you can ping me. I might not be able to tell you, yes, we'll fix this tomorrow, but I do
Mhm.
see it.
And the other question I wanted to answer is about the Hellbore. I know I've been talking about this for a long time. I apologize that this wasn't done more swiftly, but I had a week off and kind of got in the way of the update. But anyway, there are changes coming to the Hellbore. They've been checked in. They're basically going through QA passes now. So I believe those will be earmarked for release in the very near future.
On the patch notes, I'll make sure that it's not missed, so you'll be aware
Mhm.
ahead of time. We do see the feedback still coming in about it, so we are
Yeah.
keeping an eye on it.
There's been questions about the Deuter stat. I honestly, I don't. Spicy ball meat. Great name. I don't really understand why that's a question for me. It sounds like art stuff. So maybe if Keen and Ramon, if you can take that feedback and see if there's something that needs to be updated. I don't know what more to say about it. We hear you.
Yeah, if you
I
have any ship art
screenshot it.
issues, you can put them in the official STO Discord and tag a ship art, and I have a look at there
Yes.
all the time.
That is the
So
best place to include any bug reports, especially for ships, because I know Keen is dedicated
yeah,
to reviewing those. A little
And
addicted, just
very
a little.
active.
yeah.
All right, yes. You can ping us if you feel like you haven't been heard at all. We'll admit we're all very busy with a lot of things at work. I would prefer
Mhm.
you ping me over Jeremy because Jeremy's even
So
busier
would
than
I.
all of us together. But Pandas is around and likes to get feedback too. Otherwise, yeah, just keep reaching out. Join our Discord. We love talking to you there. We'll also be there. At least me and Pandas will be there after the stream for a little bit.
Mhm.
If you have any direct feedback or want anything else from us, I'll be there for at least half an hour. So we'll be Pandas. I think.
Mhm.
I'm not making
He's
him.
always there. You can't get
Yeah.
rid of
Yeah,
him.
I was saying it's not like I'm making him. He just loves being there with you guys. I think sometimes he's around longer than I am, and he's on a very different time zone.
It's 3 a.m. Yeah.
So give him a lot of good feedback because I think that's what feeds him. Like that's what keeps him awake until 4 a.m. to message me about feedback.
Sorry, I have one more quick thing to talk about before we go, and then I swear I'll let you turn this thing off. So there's a lot of questions that you guys have been posting in the chat about asking about when can we expect blah or is this on the slate. We're trying not to ignore you, honestly. Like those things give us a lot of feedback that we can internalize about, oh, the players are interested in this stuff. But we just can't answer those things. We don't talk about things that we haven't been ready to talk about. We have a very well-controlled pipeline of the types of things and when we start marketing them and when we want to talk about them. So we really, as our previous CM Mike used to say, we don't talk about unreleased content until we talk about unreleased content. But it's us that drive those conversations. So we appreciate that you guys are interested in what we might be planning in the future, but I'm sorry, we just can't talk about it. So if you have other questions about things that are already out or things that are ongoing or anything that we've already spoiled from our side of those things, those are questions we would love to answer for you. But we really can't talk about stuff that we're not ready to talk about yet.
Yeah, it's like Fight Club, but for ship releases.
For any future content. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah,
Where
that's a
we
good
will
note
tease what
from
we
Flo. Like
can.
we have a lot of people that just tend to type like when X. Just to reiterate what Flo just typed in the chat, if you can rephrase those as I would love to see X. That's feedback we're more able to internalize. And technically, you're saying the same thing. It's just, if you can contribute it in a different way, then it might catch our eye a little bit more.
To be fair, that is how the internet asks for
Yeah.
what you just said.
I know that's what I. But yeah.
Yeah, we see those questions. Not like we're ignoring them to spite
We
you.
just can't really
just-
talk about them.
Yeah, I cannot
How
ask
X
them
or who
because
X? That's so real.
nobody asks how X is. All right.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
X is doing well, and the next ship release is also coming up. It will just
Well,
be
now
a
with
while
everybody
because I have
typing
to
in the
ship out
chat that they would
first.
like to see X, we're gonna make a Borg X, just a big, blocky, bold face X that you can fly.
Let's go. You know what? I'm down for this.
Don't
X
tease the
gonna give
players
it to
like
you.
that. The requests I get for like Borg ships, I would
Borg
fly
X.
that. It would not be able to like turn around in any time, but I would still fly it.
Yeah. Okay. On that ridiculous note, should we call it a day?
Yes, before we get ideas and then you guys get ideas and I have to market that in a few months. So let's sit around awkwardly until until the stream ends as always. Thank you very much everyone watching. Really loved seeing you so active in the chat today, even after the giveaway was done. And I hope you enjoy the ship. Once you get it as a reward for the event, please show it off in screenshots.
Mhm.
And that's it. Wishing you all a good night.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Well, there you have it. That was the VOD for the previous stream that was showing off the Stronghold and some interesting notes to kind of take away from, which I'll just kind of go over. A new ship artist that joined was Ramon, and they were doing some giveaways, and one of those ship coupons actually went to one of our supporters, Sora. So congrats to you, Sora. Seems like you have all the luck in the world. A couple of the things that I kind of just wrote down here was I love how the design of the ship was kind of sort of designed after a whale. I mean, I called it a gun, but sure, a whale. I can see that now. The other note for this was quite interesting was the torpedo that was on the T5 ship, which they forgot. And let me just say that again. They forgot, Jeremy forgot about the torpedo that came with a T5 bulwark, which they are quote unquote retiring, but they're not going to be retiring that torpedo, but it is not going to be coming with the ship anytime in the future and may come in another form. They said something about a Phoenix prize pack. I don't quite agree with that, but it is what it is. Would I have used it anyways? Sure, of course, but is it something that I would use all the time? Probably not. Maybe not just for anything but a theme build. But just thought I'd note that. And another thing that was interesting was they are going to be doing, starting next week, some ship building with content creators, and I think they had mentioned it was Endeavor Gaming and Mara. So congrats to you, Caps, for being able to get that. Now, would we want to get in on that to share our casual builds? I'm not sure if that would come across very well. But Captains, we love doing that anyway. So regardless, we'll continue keep doing that here on the channel. And if by chance we get asked to, well, of course, we'll probably take the opportunity. But I would love to actually do more, maybe even just interviews. Actually, I'd love to interview Counselor Sana, to be honest with you, Caps, before doing any of that. But that's just me, as I just love to get to know the devs, especially the new ones that we have there at Deca. Now, the other thing that, and I could have heard this incorrectly, but this is the last event that they're going to be giving away a ship, which if I heard that incorrectly, so what does that mean? So summer anniversary, again, it may have just been relating to this particular ship. Let me know in the comments below, Captains. I'd like to know, because that definitely got a question mark from me. And lastly, here another note here was them, or was Jeremy at least talking about the Hellbore trait is going to go through another change. So gonna have to wait to see what change that is, and then to see if hopefully that sticks, because this will be the third, I believe, the third iteration of it, because it's still overperforming if I'm not mistaken. But an interesting thought. A lot of things going on, but thought we would again post this up on the YouTube channel so that Caps that missed it can watch it here. So do us a favor, hit the like button, comment below, let us know your thoughts on anything that you heard from the stream. I'd like to know. And of course, if you're new here, consider subscribing to the YouTube bridge, and we'll leave it on this note.
Live long and prosper.